Have you ever heard about people talking about collinear points and relating them to gradients? In this video, we're going to be breaking it down in smaller pieces.
Master Math with ADE.
So, when they talk about collinear points, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? What are collinear points and how does it relate to gradients? So we've talked about gradient in previous videos. You can check that video to have a more better understanding in finding the gradient of a line. Now, when we talk about collinear points, we're just simply talking about a straight line. So we have this straight line plotted on the x or y plane. Now, we're not finding the gradient. We obviously say we find the vertical rise over the horizontal distance, and then we'd find the gradient of that line. Now, we're not talking about collinear points. We just mean different points on a line. So we have this point here, which I've drawn. We have this point, and maybe this point. So we have 3 points on a line. Now, when they say collinear, if points are collinear on a line, they mean they lie on the same line. So, how we find if points are collinear? To find if certain points are collinear on a line, the gradient has to be the same because we know the gradient of this point on this line would give us, for example, if the gradient is 3, if we find the gradient here, that gradient is supposed to give us 3 too. And if we find the gradient here, it's also supposed to give us 3. So hence the definition of collinear points are just different points which lie on the same line with the same gradients. So if you have 3 points and you find the gradient of one point, one coordinate, you have to also find the one set of coordinates. You have to also find the gradient of another set of coordinates, sorry. And if the gradient of those two sets of coordinates are the same, then those points are said to be collinear. So we have these coordinates in this question over here. So we have -7 and 5. We have -5 and 8. And we have 1 and 17. Now they're asking us to find if these points are collinear. So we're going to find the gradient of these 2 points first. Let's find the gradient of these 2 points. So we know the formula for gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So since we're using this one, our y2 is going to be 8 minus our y1 will be 5. Our x2 is -5 and our x1 is -7. Now we just have to find the gradient. So we know 8 minus 5 will give us 3. So we're going to say 3 over. So -5 minus -7 is just -5 plus 7, which is going to be 2. So we're going to put our 2 there. So that's the gradient of the 2 coordinates. Now, to see if they're actually collinear, let's find now the gradient of the other 2 parts. So we still have these points. We found the gradient of these 2 coordinates as 3 over 2. Now let's try finding the gradient of this one and this one. So we have 17, 1,17, -5,8. So we're going to say our gradient will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 17 minus 8 over 1 minus -5. So 17 minus 8 will be 9. So we'll say 9 over 1 minus -5 is 1 plus 5, which will be 6. So we can simplify this further. We can say 3 into 9. So 3 into 9 will be 3, and 3 into 6 is 2. So our gradient is 3 over 2. So now we find the gradient of this one and this one, because we found the gradient of this one and this one, this one and this one. Now this one with that one. So this one and this one will be 17 minus 5 over 1 minus -7. So 17 minus 5 will give us 12. So we'll say 12 over 1 minus -7 is just 1 plus 7, which is 8. So we can simplify that. We can say 4. 4 into 12 is going to give us 3. And 4 into 8, 2. So each of the lines are giving us a gradient of 3 over 2. So we can state these 3 points are collinear with each other because they have the same gradient, and that means they lie on the same line. Now, what if they tell us to find the distance between this point and this point? Well, if you want to know how to do that, you can check this other video right here, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Bye for now.